My name is Tony Lopes, and welcome to Dirty Boots Capital. This is our introduction video to help you understand what Dirty Boots Capital is all about. I am the founder of Dirty Boots Capital, and it was the genesis of, I would say, the past 2 years of thinking through all that's going on in our environment and how to help other people protect their personal and financial freedoms. Along with this YouTube channel, we also set up a website, dirtybootscapital.com. You can go there for more information. We have many articles being posted there by myself and also by contributors. So you'll get a lot of information, a lot of education there. And we also help with real estate consulting services and also starting a syndication to help people. So the genesis really of the channel, Dirty Boots Capital, and the website is primarily education, right? We're in a environment today where things are changing pretty rapidly. And what we wanted to do was not only share my story of what I'm doing and where I'm going and trying to protect my personal and financial freedoms, but also have interviews with other folks that can bring forward their experiences. And there's a lot of people out there that I meet day in and day out who think this is, hey, financial freedoms and, certain things are just for the rich or for the wealthy. But I disagree. We all got to look at it from our own perspective and see where we fit in and how we can do the best for ourselves. Right. This is as I say, this is sport, participatory sport. Right. You cannot sit on the sidelines. You have to participate in order to achieve these things in life. Right. So on the YouTube channel, we're going to have many videos with folks who have, come from meager backgrounds who are doing very well for themselves today because they are participating each and every day and making sure that they survive in this world, and not just preserve their freedoms, but also gain more freedoms, right? So my story is, I'm the product of immigrant parents, right? My parents are straight off the boat. I am a first generation American. I am proud to be an American, although I'm not always proud of what's going on in this country and what I see. However, I grew up in that environment, very cultural type environment, where I was encouraged to go to school, get an education, go to college, get a good job with a good company, and you'll be successful and you'll have nothing to worry about. And that was pretty much the mantra with my family, right? And they were right. This was an environment they believed was the right environment and a good environment and the right direction to head in. And back in the, I would say back in the, the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s, that was a good place to be, right? However, things have changed, right? And for me, it changed when I was working my so-called good job, and I unfortunately was a product of a layoff, right? And here I was sitting saying, I did all the right things. I went to school. I was a good citizen. I got a good job and paid my bills and paid my taxes. And here I am, getting laid off. And, it was a pretty tough thing to take. So for me, the minute I landed back at a new job, I ended up thinking about how do I protect myself, right? So this was back in the early 2000s. And I said, well, I know real estate. I grew up with my father around that, doing repairs and remodels and things like that. So I said, let me get into real estate and have that be my plan B, just in case I ever get laid off again. Um, so that's what I did. I bought my first multifamily. It was a 4-unit building. It wasn't without its challenges. I had to do some of the work myself and do some, so to speak, sweat equity along the way. But that's okay. I mean, we should all expect to do that, right? And not necessarily have things handed to us, right? We all got to participate and help ourselves. So from there, while working my day job, right? I was still working my 40, 50 hour a week job. In parallel, I was buying real estate, right? And things were going well, and I kept buying more. And fortunately, I was smart enough to recognize during the 2008 global financial crisis, I was able to recognize that that was a time of opportunity, and I bought many buildings during that period. Um, and that's what allowed me in the end, that's what allowed me to gain my freedoms, right? And so these weren't buildings that were particularly, I would say, beautiful. Some had leaks in the roof. Some had just kitchens needed to be replaced, floors needed to be replaced, windows, siding, chimneys rebuilt, you name it. These weren't the most beautiful buildings out there, right? And again, I mean, I was working, I couldn't afford beautiful buildings and that sort of stuff, right? So I put in my sweat equity. But the punchline is, at the end of the day here, when I was 44 years old, I got to the point with my real estate where I had to make a decision and say, do I continue down the road of working my job 40 to 50 hours a week, which was getting pretty stressful, right? Or do I go down the road of with my real estate and managing that and growing that? And because they were both stressful in their own right, and I needed to make a decision one way or another. I couldn't keep doing them both. So I went down the road of solely doing my real estate, and it was phenomenal, the amount of people that actually came out of the woodwork when I announced I was retiring from a very good job, a very good company. Um, the amount of people that came out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, Tony, I always knew you did something with real estate, but I didn't know it was to this magnitude." And so there was a lot of people who, were looking for help, looking for, "Hey, let's go out for lunch, let's go out for coffee. Help me understand how you did it, because I have kids," they told me, right? They had kids, either going to college, or who are going to be getting married, and they needed a little extra money to help with that. And so I got that, right? That makes sense. So I would sit down with them, and hence, what was born was the real estate consulting arm of Dirty Boots Capital, where I would sit down with people and try to help them get into better positions, right? So, so that was all fine and well. And so I retired at 44, right? It was, it was great to an extent, right? But I found myself, doing things that I loved: hiking, biking, going to the beach, all sorts of great things. But you get to the point where you're like, all my friends are working, right? And I was doing these great things, by myself, essentially, right? And so I was at the point where I was like, okay, well, let me go off and, pursue some other interests. And I always had an interest in macroeconomics and finance and helping people with real estate. So I started to dive in deeper, and I started to really understand what's going on within the political system and the financial system. What's happening to the monetary system today. And I started to think, wow, uh, there's a lot of negative things happening here beneath the surface that people just don't understand. Not because they're bad people, right? They're good people. Unfortunately, it's not a pronounced story in the media, right, or in the headlines on how these things are eroding our personal and financial freedoms. So I got to the point about 6 months ago where I said, you know what? I have a niece and nephews who are starting to come into their own, right? They're going to college or they're starting their first jobs. And I said, hey, let me go ahead and create a white paper. Just wanted to get some words down on paper, 10, 20 pages worth of here's how the various systems work and how they are affecting your personal and financial freedom, because I know they weren't getting that in school, right? Their teachers weren't telling them what was going on, right? And so they needed this white paper from somebody they could go back to and ask questions, and we could have some sort of dialogue, right? Um, no, not everybody is ready for that on day one, but still get it out there. And at whatever point they're ready for it, we'd have that conversation, right? So here I am. I'm starting to create this white paper, and I'm about 30,000 words into it. And I said, holy cow, this is no longer a white paper. This is a book, right? And so that's where I started my first book called Freedom at Risk: How to Protect Your Personal and Financial Freedoms. It wasn't the plan to write a book, but it was a lot of time and effort and research and really heart and soul that went into it, because there's just so much going on in the world today. Uh, so through this channel, both the YouTube channel and then also the website, dirtybootscapital.com, is where we bring some of that education forward, right? Through our interviews with others, through articles, to be able to help folks understand what's going on in the world today and try to help, right? So if that's something that you are interested in, please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like the message we're trying to send and trying to educate folks with. Like this video, and then head on over to our website, dirtybootscapital.com. Take a look at that, and there's various ways for us to engage with us on that website as well. So I hope you like this introduction video, and hope to see you at the next one. Thank you.